Hello, here we have the SJCAM C200 action camera, an action camera which is, it does have some weight to it, but nevertheless it is portable. It has a small screen, image stabilization, and lots of video and photo settings. This video will simply be about video tests. Sample videos recorded with this camera. We're going to show you some samples shortly, and you can decide for yourself if you think that this camera has good video quality and if it's something that you're interested in purchasing. As you can see, there are not too many accessories, but most importantly, we did have generously included in the package was a micro SD memory card, so we didn't have to buy one separately. And you have this nice underwater housing. Even though the camera is supposedly body waterproof for a few feet, I always like to have underwater housing if it's available, just to give myself some extra kind of security in knowing that it's hopefully more likely that the water will not leak into the camera if we have underwater housing. So personally, I will not be submersing this camera in the water without the underwater housing, so this is definitely nice to have. So what kind of video settings do we have available? Our default actually was 1080p 60 frames per second, but I'm going to show you what other settings we have here in addition to that. So by clicking and holding on this M button, I guess menu or mode, it's going to get you to photo mode, and then again playback mode, and finally settings. So you're going to click the OK button, which is this button right here. That'll be our OK button, and sorry for the lighting here. It's going to show you that you have these different settings. This is my preferred setting, 1080p 60 frames per second, but it goes all the way up to 4K 24 frames per second. So let's just go really quickly. We have some time-lapse options, slow motion, image stabilization. By turning on image stabilization, that does not allow you to have a distortion correction. So just keep that in mind. It's either or. If you have image stabilization on, that's the gyro sensor, you're not going to be able to have distortion correction, which essentially takes away the super wide angle view and removes the fisheye effect. So distortion correction does take away the fisheye effect, which is something that I like. I don't like to have the super wide angle. But keep in mind that if you have distortion correction on, your image stabilization will turn off. So it's a little bit of a trade-off there, but I just did want to show you that you have the option for image stabilization, which is this gyro sensor setting right here. So those are our video settings. Quite a lot of settings. Now we're going to go all the way back to exiting our menu, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you have image stabilization enabled. This is not a touch screen. But you can see that little hand icon in the bottom left. That is an indicator that you have image stabilization on. So here you have image stabilization, 1080p 60 frames per second. So we're going to do some tests with image stabilization, without image stabilization. And those are going to follow shortly. So I'm going to turn it off, holding down the power button. And yeah, so that's the SJCAM C200. Has some weight to it, very portable. Feels very durable, lots of video settings, lots of photo settings, and a little small screen. What I do like about this design, it allows you to hold the camera very easily instead of having to hold it with both hands to really keep it stable, like with those typical rectangular boxes. You have the lens all the way up here, so you can hold it down here and easily film and not have your thumb over the screen because the screen is all the way up here. So very convenient design for filming. Video samples will follow shortly with the SJCAM C200, and you can decide for yourself if you think this video quality looks good. We will be using 1080p 60 frames per second as our resolution. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera. Recently purchased on Amazon. The SJCAM the SJCAM C200 action camera. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera. This time we have image stabilization turned on. Just going to take a walk around and you can decide for yourself if you think the video looks stable, smooth, hopefully not too shaky, because we have the image stabilization feature turned on. This is the SJCAM C200 action camera. Image stabilization turned on. This is a 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. Let you decide for yourself if you think the video looks stable. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera with image stabilization turned on. Hopefully the video is not too shaky. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the image stabilization feature turned on. This is the SJCAM C200 action camera. And we have image stabilization enabled here, so we're just going to take a walk, finish our walk over there, and hopefully that's a good test of the image stabilization capabilities of this action camera, the SJCAM C200 action camera. SJCAM C200 action camera image stabilization test. Hello, this is a 1080p 60 frames per second video test with the SJCAM C200 action camera. (1080p) video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera. (1080p) video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. (1080p) video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera. This camera also has image stabilization as an option, but that is not enabled here. This is just a 1080p 60 frames per second video test, no image stabilization enabled. It is sunny Monday afternoon. We're just testing out the SJCAM C200 action camera. (1080p) video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera, recently purchased on Amazon. C200. (1080p) video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera. (1080p) video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera. (1080p) video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera, recently purchased on Amazon. Image stabilization available as an option. This video test does not have image stabilization. Oh, now it is sunny. Finally. (1080p) video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM C200 action camera, and it is now sunny.